I welcome you all to the session of hydraulic machines, and today we shall discuss about the Euler theory and in fact departure from Euler theory. If we try to recall, in the last class we have discussed about slip, and we have seen that the Euler equation which is used to predict the head that will be developed by a pump. So, that equation is u2 c theta 2 by g. So, this is Euler equation, right. Now, we have seen that in practice head which will be developed by a pump, if it is a radial flow pump definitely, or if it is an axial flow pump, but irrespective of the type of the pump, the head that will be developed will be definitely different than that predicted by Euler equation. In fact, this amount of head is not achievable in practice due to several reasons, and we have discussed about the slip. The phenomenon of slip is one of them, and we have discussed. So, today we will discuss about rather the topic of today's discussion is the head that will be developed by a pump will be lesser than that predicted by this Euler equation. But before I go to discuss those points, what I will do, I will try to find out what is slip velocity. So, you can recall, so before we go to discuss this aspect, we will discuss about slip, because slip is one of the reasons which is responsible for this departure, right. Now, if we take the example that a radial flow pump, and if we try to draw the impeller of a radial flow pump, right. So, this is the impeller of a radial flow pump which is rotating in the clockwise direction. Now, from the previous class discussion, from the discussion which we had in the previous class, we have seen that if we take out this particular blade, say if I use different color to identify this particular blade, say if we take out this particular blade and if I draw here, so this is the blade, and we have seen that the pressure on this side is higher than the pressure at the back side, right. So, pressure on the convex side, that is in this side, is definitely high, and the pressure at the concave side is low. That is what we have discussed in detail in the previous class, and that is definitely because of this resultant force. So, this is resultant force. So, this is the resultant force, right. Now, the pressure is, because resultant force which is acting on the convex side is high. So, force per unit area, that is the pressure. So, definitely pressure will be higher. Now, if we take at least 2 different blades, 2 different consecutive blades. So, again I am trying to draw using different color. Say I am taking this blade and another blade which is adjacent to this one. So, just this one and this one, and so this is rotating in this direction, and what we can see, pressure is high at this surface and also pressure is high at this surface and pressure is less in this surface. Okay. So, this is only because of this resultant force. We will be discussing again in our subsequent classes. So, basically what we can see, due to this resultant force, pressure on the convex side is high and the pressure on the convex side is concave side is less. So, you can see that when the fluid is flowing through the passage. So, now this is the flow direction. So, this is the flow direction, right. So, flow through the impeller, to be precise, flow through this passage between 2 consecutive blades. So, when there is a flow through this passage, you can see pressure in this side is high, pressure on that side is less. So, it is quite reasonable to expect that the flow velocity will be too much non-uniform while flowing through this passage, right. So, basically you can see that because of this high pressure, velocity will be less over here because of the high pressure on the convex side in this particular blade. So, if I give name AA, this blade, and this blade is BB, right. So, if we now consider these 2 blades, that is AA and BB, you can understand that pressure on the convex side of blade A is high, while the pressure on the concave side of blade BB is less. So, velocity will be definitely higher. So, basically if I try to draw using different color. So, this is red color. So, here velocity is high and here velocity is less. So, because of this, you can see this is the flow passage. So, if we traverse from one point to the other point in this flow passage, we can see there is a change in velocity. So, velocity gradient will be there. So, a velocity gradient exists. So, we can see that there will be flow velocity variation like this. So, we can see that from a low velocity to high velocity, that velocity gradient is there in this flow passage, and that is only because of this resultant force, and that is what we have seen in the last class due to the geometrical structure of the blade. So, we have seen this is basically we will be discussing the consequence of the existence of the velocity gradient in the flow passage. Perhaps this is one of the reason for the departure of the Euler theory while we are trying to predict, rather the head predicted by the Euler equation will not be equal to the head that will be achieved in practice. So, one of the reason is this velocity gradient. So, basically non-uniform velocity distribution you can see. So, the flow field, in the flow field we are having non-uniform velocity distribution. So, we will be discussing that part soon, but at least what we have seen in the last class, that because of this resultant force, the pressure on the convex side is high, right, and this non-uniform velocity distribution is responsible. I mean, we are getting this non-uniform velocity distribution as a result of this pressure difference across the blade, and that is definitely due to the resultant force. Okay. So, now we will see soon that this non-uniform velocity distribution, in fact, that is what we have discussed. This non-uniform velocity distribution is responsible for the mean flow direction leaving the pump impeller at the outlet to be changed from one angle to the other angle, and not only that, this effect will eventually result in a diminished component of wall velocity, which is very important in the context of pump operation, we can see from here. So, basically the wall component of velocity, that is the component of absolute velocity in the tangential direction, which is very important in the context of pump operation for the head that will be developed. But this non-uniform velocity distribution is responsible for the mean velocity leaving the pump impeller at the outlet to be changed from one angle to the other angle, and this phenomenon will eventually result in a diminished component of this wall component of velocity at the outlet. If it is so, then definitely head predicted by the Euler equation will not be the correct one to what we are getting in practice. So, basically now I mean, if we try to discuss that what is slip. So, now I am going to discuss, say what I was discussing, that this non-uniform velocity distribution will be responsible for the mean velocity, mean flow direction to be precise, leaving the pump impeller at the outlet to be changed. What is this? So, if we try to draw again a pump impeller, right. So, this is the pump impeller. Now, again if we take out this particular blade and if we try to draw the velocity triangle, right. So, I will be now drawing the velocity triangle using different color again. So, okay. So, this is U2 and this is CR2. This is rotating in this direction with an angular velocity omega. Now, and this is C theta 2 and this is W theta 2. This angle is beta 2 and this is W 2, right. So, this is what we know. So, basically if we allow the pump, if you allow this pump to run at its design condition, the velocity components will be C 2, W 2 and U 2 at the outlet, right. Now, what I said in the previous in the context of previous slide, we have discussed that due to this non-uniform velocity distribution in the flow passes when liquid is passing through the impeller, right. This non-uniform velocity distribution will be responsible for the mean flow direction leaving the pump impeller at its outlet to be changed from. Now, if I use different color to say I am taking green color. So, this mean flow direction will now change because of this non-uniform velocity distribution. Say this is the so W2 prime and this angle is beta 2 prime. In fact, I will be writing here for the sake of clarity. So, you can see now this C2 will be now here. So, this is C2 prime and this is C theta 2 dash and this will be W theta 2 dash. Okay. So, basically this non-uniform velocity distribution, the existence of non-uniform velocity distribution will change the mean flow direction to be changed from beta 2 to beta 2 prime, right. What is the consequence? Total head U2 is remaining constant, right. So, now this will be, now this is U2. So, U2 is remaining constant, but the mean flow direction is getting changed from beta 2 to beta 2 prime, as a result of which what is the consequence? We are getting a diminished component of wall velocity at the outlet, and that is very important. So, basically now C theta 2. So, when there is rotation of the pump impeller, then the swirl component at the outlet is C theta 2 prime, right. So, this is the swirl component at the outlet, but we are expecting that the swirl component at the outlet will be C theta 2, but this is not the case. So, when pump is expected to operate at its design condition, then swirl component will be C theta 2, right. So, what we can see that means when there is no pump rotation. So, when there is no pump rotation, as per the design condition, the swirl component of velocity at the outlet will be C theta 2, but when the rotation start, there is a rotation of the pump impeller, then the swirl component at outlet is C theta 2. So, definitely the C theta 2 dash is less than C theta. So, that is that is what we are getting. So, basically we are getting diminished wall component of velocity, diminished swirl component of velocity at the outlet, and that is solely because of this non-uniform velocity existence of the non-uniform velocity distribution in the flow passage. Now, so basically what we are getting, so basically what we can see that we are expected to get, we are expecting to get the swirl component of velocity at the outlet will be c theta 2, but we are getting c theta 2 prime. So, if we go back to this slide wherein the head developed by the pump, if we try to predict using this Euler equation will not be achieved in practice. Okay. So, what we can see from this diagram is that the swirl component of velocity is getting reduced at the outlet, right. So, c theta 2 prime is getting, I mean c theta 2 prime is less than c theta 2, right. So, the reduction of the swirl component of velocity at the outlet, that is nothing but v slip. Okay. So, this c theta 2 minus c theta 2 dash, which is greater than 0 and known as slip velocity. So, this is slip velocity. Okay. So, this is the slip velocity Vs. Now, question is, in the last class we have discussed that we will try to establish an expression of the slip velocity in terms of the design parameter of the pump. There are different models available, but we will be focusing on the models on the model proposed by Stodula. So, that we will be discussing, but at least for the time being you should know the slip velocity Vs, that is nothing but c theta 2 minus c theta 2 prime is given pi u2 cos alpha 2 divided by z, where z is the number of blades. In the impeller, right. So, that is the z is the number of blade in the impeller, right. So, basically I mean if I go to here, what is alpha 2? Okay, let me draw. So, if I try to draw the velocity triangle at the outlet again. So, this is C 2 dash, this is C theta 2 dash, this is W theta 2 dash, this is W 2 and this is U 2. Okay. This angle is alpha 2 dash. So, basically you can see, I mean if I try to write using this color, this angle is alpha 2, right. So, this angle is alpha 2. Now, when there is a change in the mean flow direction because of this non-uniform velocity distribution, which will allow, rather which will creating, rather which will making the system that there is a shift of the absolute component of velocity from this point to this point, right. So, the existence of this non-uniform velocity distribution, that is essentially because of the geometrical consideration of the pump blade, also the resultant force that will be acting here, we are getting a shift of the absolute component of velocity from point 2 to point 2 prime, right. Similarly, this point, the relative velocity of the flow leaving the pump impeller will be now shifting from 2 to 2 prime, right. So, because of this shift, what we are getting? We are getting diminished wall component of velocity at the outlet, which in turn will result a loss, I mean a reduction in the, not a loss, but a reduction in the head that will be developed by the pump. Okay. So, basically this is alpha 2 prime, but I have written, so in generic form. So, this is alpha 2 prime. So, the slip velocity, that is nothing but the difference between these two components, I mean the component of swirl velocity where when there is a rotation of the pump impeller and when there is no rotation of the pump impeller, right. So, c theta 2, that is the swirl component of velocity at the outlet which we are expecting to get, but this is basically when there is no pump rotation. But this c theta 2, as if when the pump is start rotating, because of this rotationality effect and a resultant force will be acting on the convex surface of the blade, which will eventually result in diminished swirl component of velocity at the outlet c theta 2 prime. So, this is the swirl component of velocity at the outlet when there is pump rotation, and this is as if when there is no pump rotation. So, the difference between these two swirl component of swirl components is the slip velocity Vs, and we will try to establish this relation using the model proposed by the Stodula, but at least for the timing you should know this can be written in terms of the pi u2 cos alpha 2 prime by z, where u2 is the tangential velocity at the outlet, blade velocity at the outlet, z is the number of blade and u2 is the blade velocity at the outlet. Okay. Now, we will also see, so basically we are getting c theta 2 prime which is less than c theta 2. So, this c theta 2 will be definitely less than 1, and this is also known as sigma. So, this is basically slip factor. So, this factor is known as slip factor. So, this is slip factor, which is nothing but the ratio of tangential component of absolute velocity when there is pump rotation to the tangential component of swirl velocity, tangential component of absolute velocity when there is no pump rotation, as if. So, basically c theta 2, that is the tangential component of absolute velocity we are expecting to get, but at the moment when pump is trying to rotate or pump is rotating, then because of the resultant force we are eventually getting the tangential component of absolute velocity to be less than what we are expecting to get. So, c theta 2 prime. So, c theta 2 prime also, this is the diminished swirl velocity at the outlet. So, the ratio of these two component, I mean known as slip factor. So, slip factor again I am telling, I do repeat that this is nothing but the ratio of swirl component at the outlet when there is pump rotation to the swirl component at outlet when there is no pump rotation, right. So, this is what is important. Now, basically I mean for this particular case, so what we can write, this sigma is equal to c theta 2 prime by c theta 2, right. So, what is c theta 2 prime? If we try to use this equation, c theta 2 prime is nothing but c theta 2 minus Vs. Okay. So, basically I can write this is c theta 2 minus Vs by c theta 2, very simple to understand. So, basically 1 minus Vs divided by c theta 2. So, this is basically slip factor sigma. So, this is slip factor, again I am writing. Okay. So, 1 minus Vs by c theta 2. Now, question is what is Vs? So, Vs already we have written, that is pi u2 cos alpha 2 by z. So, if we plug in the value of Vs over there, so basically we can write that is nothing but 1 minus pi u2 cos alpha 2, just I am writing alpha 2 prime divided by z into c theta 2. See, this can be written again 1 minus pi u2 cos alpha 2 prime divided by z. What is c theta 2? I mean c theta 2 is nothing but u 2 minus w theta 2, right. So, basically what we can write, that is u 2 minus w theta 2, right. Okay. So, you can see that this w theta 2, if it is CR2, if it is CR2, and this is also beta 2, beta 2 prime, right. So, what we can write? We can write that is nothing but pi, I am sorry, that is 1 minus pi u 2 cos alpha 2 prime divided by z u 2 minus, I can write w theta 2 in terms of CR2. So, what is w theta 2? This. So, I can write this is nothing but, if I write in terms of alpha 2, or I can write in terms of beta 2, right. So, I can write w theta 2 by CR2. So, you can see CR2 is equal to, if I try to write in terms of alpha 2, then w theta 2 is nothing but CR2 tan alpha 2, right. So, I can write CR2 tan alpha 2 prime, right, if I have not done any mistake. So, basically CR2 tan alpha 2 prime. Okay. So, if we go one step further, we can write, in fact we can write that is nothing but 1. Now, if I divide this denominator and numerator by u 2, what I will be getting? I will be getting pi cos alpha 2 prime divided by z 1 minus CR 2 by u 2 tan alpha 2 prime, right. So, see this CR 2 by u 2, that is also known as. So, if we go to the next slide, so eventually we can write slip factor sigma, that is nothing but 1 minus pi cos alpha 2 prime pi divided by z into 1 minus CR 2 by u 2 this fellow. Now, if I take different color, this fellow CR 2 by u 2 is known as flow coefficient. So, CR 2 by u 2, that is known as flow coefficient, and it is denoted by phi. So, basically this CR 2 by u 2, which is known as flow coefficient and denoted by phi. What is flow coefficient? Basically it is used to represent the volume flow rate at all flow conditions. So, basically phi that I will be discussing in the context of pump affinity laws, that I will be discussing. So, basically you know that CR 2 by u 2, you can understand this is a dimensionless term, because this is also velocity, this is also velocity. So, this is a dimensionless term which is used to represent the volume flow rate, used to represent or describe the volume flow rate, and this phi is basically volume flow rate Q. So, sometimes it is known as volume flow coefficient. If you consult any textbook, I mean you will find this phi is there. In some books it is written this is flow coefficient, it is a dimensionless number which is used to describe the volume flow rate, and that is why it is sometimes also known as volume flow coefficient, and this is proportional to Q. Okay. Now, if we try to write it, then it is coming 1 minus pi cos alpha 2 prime divided by z into 1 minus phi tan alpha 2 prime. Okay. you can understand. So, you see this is the slip coefficient, you can understand, right. Now, a special case, if we consider a special case, that a purely radial blades, right. So, basically for radial blades, so now this alpha 2 is equal to 0, if alpha 2 is equal to 0, alpha 2 dash will be also equal to 0. So, radial blades alpha 2 equal to 0, in that case sigma equal to what, 1 minus pi by z cos alpha 2. So, alpha 2 will not be equal to, will not be there. So, I am writing will not be there. So, this will be 1 minus pi by z, right. So, basically for the pure, I mean for the radial blades, you can understand flow coefficient does not depend on, the slip factor does not depend on the flow coefficient, and that is the important conclusion from this exercise. For the radial blades for which alpha 2 prime equal to 0, the slip factor is independent of the flow coefficient, that is that does not depend on the flow, flow coefficient. So, this flow coefficient already I told you, I will be discussing this this part again when I will be discussing about the pump affinity loss, but this flow coefficient as I told you, this is proportional to Q. This may be used to compare two geometrical similar machine, in order to, I mean to geometrical similar machines for what. So, I mean this phi is basically cube divided by n d cube. So, this is for the pump. So, for the pump this is q by n d cube, and as I told you that this flow coefficient can be used in order to compare to geometrically similar pump with one another with a varying rotor diameter. So, this flow coefficient is very important, which is used to compare to geometrically similar pump with a varying rotor diameter to determine the q and n. So, basically if I know the phi, if I just vary the rotor diameter, if the machine is geometrically similar machine, then I can calculate q and n, and that is the performance parameter. So, the objective is that operating condition or performance parameter. So, this is very important, again I am telling this flow coefficient for the pump, it is written q by n d q. It is used, sometimes it is used to compare to geometrically similar pump with a varying rotor diameter d to determine the operating condition, that is q and n, essentially at a similar flow condition, right. So, this is the significance of this flow flow coefficient, we will be discussing soon. So, if I know the phi, if I just change d from d1 to d2, then what will be the q by n, and that is quite easily understandable from this expression. So, this is what is physical significance of this particular parameter that can be used. Of course, the pumps should be geometrically similar, basically geometrically similar pumps, again I am telling, though I will be discussing this part, geometrically similar pumps, they are identical in shape, maybe they are different in size, but identical in shape. So, if I talk about radial flow impeller, pump of a radial flow impeller of a radial flow pump, if the impeller is circular, then I can use this flow coefficient to compare to geometrically similar pumps. Basically maybe the impeller diameter is changing from one pump to the other pump, but the shape will remain same. So, the geometrically similar pump is that similar pumps, that means the pumps are identical in shape, but different in size. Okay. So, this is what I have discussed, that slip coefficient is independent of the flow coefficient for the radial blades. Okay. So, finally, I was thinking that I will be discussing about this departure from Euler theory. So, I mean we can discuss that departure right. So, number 1, that is slip, what we have discussed, right. Number 1, that is slip, that is what we have discussed, that the non-uniform velocity distribution is responsible for the mean flow direction to be changed from beta 2 to beta 2 prime, and the consequence will be a diminished value of swirl velocity at the outlet, and the most importantly the swirl velocity, which is very important for the head that will be developed by the pump, will be reduced. So, this is what we can see. Now, you can see this non-uniform velocity distribution that we have talked about here. This is why this is there, we have explained, but you can understand this is not caused by the frictional effect, right. This is not caused by the frictional effect, and hence the non-uniform velocity distribution, the departure of the Euler head because of this non-uniform velocity distribution, that effect does not represent a loss, since this is not caused by the fluid friction. So, that is, we can see the resultant force is acting on the convex side, pressure is high, velocity will be less, concave side pressure is less, velocity will be high, there will be an velocity, there will be a velocity gradient in the flow passage. Because of this velocity gradient, we will be discussing in the next class, that there will be the blade circulation also. So, basically what is happening, this is basically what is happening, it is not caused by the friction, but this is due to the this follows from the, what is very important to understand is that this is not caused by the friction, but it follows from the ideal flow analysis of pressure and velocity distribution. So, basically what we have understood, this is basically from the ideal flow analysis of the pressure and velocity distribution, it is not caused by the friction, and therefore, it does not represent a loss. Okay. So, basically slip, that we have understood, that responsible for the Euler theory. Number 2, that is the losses due to friction, separation, and wake formation. Right. So, this is losses due to friction, separation, and wake formation. So, slip, and that is what we have discussed, and that is the consequence of the non-uniform velocity distribution, that is the consequence of the existence of non-uniform velocity distribution in the flow passage, and that is not caused by the friction. Hence, we cannot call it a loss, rather it does not represent a loss, but it follows from the ideal flow analysis of the pressure and velocity distribution, while the second one, losses due to friction, separation, and wake formation. So, basically I mean just if we go to the previous slide wherein we have discussed this. So, here you can understand that pressure on the convex side is high, pressure on the convex concave side is less. So, because of this pressure difference we have discussed along, I mean in the previous, in one of the previous classes, that is also known as blade loading, fine. But because of the pressure difference across the blade there will be a circulation. Also you can understand that this non-uniform velocity, because of this non-uniform velocity distribution, the mean flow leaving the impeller is now shifting from position 2 to 2 prime, which eventually results in a diminished fall component of velocity at the outlet, but it does not represent a loss. Now, if we go to the previous slide, see, you can see here velocity is very high, velocity is less, on the concave side velocity is high. So, because of this velocity gradient, now pump is rotating. So, pump is rotating in this direction. Now, the fluid particle will have a tendency to rotate in the similar direction. Not only that, I will be discussing in the next class that here there will be a circulation because of this. Here the pressure is very high, velocity less, here pressure is less, velocity high. So, there will be a circulation around the blade, also there will be another circulation around this blade. So, because of this circulation in the flow passage we will have the formation of eddies. When the eddy will form, those eddy will try to sustain in the flow field, and while they are sustaining they will try to extract energy from the main flow. So, that is again loss. So, basically the eddy formation will be there, that I will be discussing in the next class, but for the timing you should understand the eddy which are being formed in the flow passage, the eddy will sustain and that eddy will try to grow in size. While the eddies are formed, they are growing in size, they will sustain in the flow field, they will try to extract energy from the main flow, as a result of which that is loss. So, basically the head that will be predicted by the Euler equation will not be same. So, basically our objective is to, in a pump, what we have understood, blades do work on the fluid. So, basically we are giving input energy, that is the mechanical energy, and that energy will be converted into the stored energy of the fluid in terms of head. Now, a part of the energy that will be extracted by the eddies which are being formed in the flow passage, for their survival as well they will try to grow in size. So, they will try to extract energy, and as a result of which the head that will be getting in practice will be less than that will be predicted by the Euler equation. So, that is why I have written, that is known as losses due to friction, separation and wake formation. So, this is losses due to the formation of eddies, friction and also the separation. So, that part is there. So, basically there are two important reasons we have identified which are responsible for this phenomenon, that is the Euler theory will not be, I mean the head predicted by the Euler equation will not be achieved in practice. So, the two reasons are, one is slip, and that is definitely due to the non-uniform velocity distribution. In the flow passage. So, if I try to separate them, so that is slip, that is due to the non-uniform velocity distribution in the flow passage, and second one is the losses due to friction, wake, separation and friction. Okay. So, we have discussed. Now, what is most important is that we have understood these two reasons for which the head which will be achieved, which will be developed by the pump will be definitely less than that predicted by the Euler equation. Second, the slip velocity Vs that we have written for the time being, that is pi u2 cos alpha 2 prime by z, where z is the number of blades present in a pump, u2 is the blade velocity at the outlet, and alpha 2 that angle which is shown in this figure. Now, this expression we need to establish, and that is what we should see from where we are getting this expression, and when we will be discussing, rather when we will try to establish this expression, the expression of the slip velocity, we will discuss in detail that how the eddies are formed, and when the eddies are being formed, they are trying to grow in size, and eventually the eddies from that eddy formation phenomenon we will try to quantify the expression of this slip velocity, and that part we will discuss in the next class. So, with this I stop here today, and we will continue in the next class. Thank you.